Good evening, Canterbury. I'm Mike Yardley. Welcome to NewsMakers, where we debate the week's issues through Canterbury eyes. It's a pleasure to introduce the panel. Labor candidate for Wigram, Megan Woods, Canterbury District Health Board Executive Member Hector Matthews, and outgoing Health Board Member Joe Kane. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Mike.
We will start with things of a festive flavour. Has Christmas in the Park become a magnet for juvenile thugs, lowlives and liquor louts? The police certainly had their hands full on Saturday night, and they are calling for these types of events to be alcohol-free. Would that solve the problem? How do we see it? Mr. Matthews.
No, I don't think it will solve the problem. Interestingly, my son and his girlfriend went along to that, and they didn't even know this had occurred, so I don't think it was quite as dramatic as some people said, but I do appreciate the police have a job to do and it's a difficult one. Yep. I always get frustrated when we tend to punish 98% of the population for what 2% of the people do, so I'm not in favour of that. But New Zealand has a significant alcohol issue, access and abuse, and we do need to address that. I just think Christmas in the Park is a good thing for families and couples want to take a glass of wine, and I think it would take away from the character of it if we banned it. We do need to address the issue, but I don't want to punish a whole lot of good people for a small bunch of idiots. The police said earlier this week that apparently there were 300 14 to 18-year-olds who were involved in the brawls and the stabbings and so forth, 300 of them. There were 40 police on duty that night. There would have been more, but they were over on the west coast. Is the preloading the big villain here?
I don't know with that, with Christmas in the Park, whether it's so much the preloading, because what preloading is people drinking alcohol they've bought at a bottle shop at home, whereas that's what they do at Christmas in the Park. They take their own and they drink it there. Really, I think there's a bigger issue here, and we have had sort of a once in a generation really chance to address alcohol with the Law Commission's report on alcohol. And what the measures that we're seeing the National Government come out with, we're still having plenty of cheap access to cheap alcohol at lots of venues, and it's not going to stop. It's not confined to Hagley Park and Christmas in the Park. I was door knocking in Islington the other day. I was telling Hector about it before, and a guy talking to me clearly could look after himself. As I said to Hector, I'd stand next to him in the pub if there was a problem. He's too scared to walk through Denton Park at night because of youths who are drinking in there.
What were you doing door knocking, by the way? Were you distributing the Gideon's Bible, or?
I was canvassing.
Oh, canvassing. Oh, of course, you're running for... yes. How silly of me to forget. Yes, the future MP for Wigram. Yes. How do you see it, Joe?
Well, you know, I thought about that, and I thought, I'll put it this way. This prevalence that we have with alcohol everywhere, whether you go to the picnic in the park, a concert, the rugby match, and what's really started to irk me out is that why do we always have to have it at every function? Why is it? And why is it that the morons spoil it for the majority? And I agree with Megan, if you go to a rugby match or go to a concert, not only can't they hold their liquor, they also have Woolworths bladders. So they interrupt everything that's going on around the place. And I'm not aware. Look, it's Friday and it's nearly 4 o'clock and I'll have a drink like anyone else. But why is it we always have to have alcohol at functions? Why can't we have alcohol-free functions?
Although arguably these 14 to 18-year-olds they certainly weren't buying alcohol at Hagley Park. They arguably had arrived tanked up.
But that's our culture. It's our culture.
It's a cultural issue.
It's a cultural issue. Look, Party Central. It's the whole psyche in New Zealand is a boozy kind of psyche, and we're not teaching our young children anything different. Because even if you look at in the park, which I don't mind Mum and Dad and myself sitting down with a bottle of wine, but it's that prevalence in our family, in the psyche of having a drink.
Do you think there is a link though between a respectable middle-aged woman having a couple of glasses of bubbles during Christmas in the Park and binge drinking 15-year-olds hiding under the trees?
Oh, well, I agree with you where I think that they're getting it cheaply somewhere else and doing... I mean, we've all got I've got teenagers that have gone through that type of binge drinking, alcopops, that they're drinking, and it's a lot stronger than just the beer or wine we had. And I feel sorry for the place because it should have been a really nice outing and it was spoiled by morons.
I think we should be careful, though, to beat up on young people because our generation raised that generation. We grew up in New Zealand where we didn't have 24/7 access to alcohol, and we created 24 access. My 21-year-old didn't create the environment where you could buy alcohol 24 hours a day, 7 days a week out of supermarkets and on cornered areas and so on. We need to take responsibility for this, and we haven't been taking responsibility
Correct,
for it,
yeah.
and the Law
Good
Commission
point.
isn't taking responsibility for it.
Well, to be
Well, the Law
fair,
Commission
The
did.
stuff
Yeah.
was
Some
there,
great
the stuff was there,
recommendations.
the
The government's
stuff was there.
reaction.
It was
Yeah.
all
And they
there,
did
but
that.
they took the soft option.
That's right,
you know.
they took the soft
Yeah.
option.
Cherry-picked
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's sat in select committee for over a year.
Yeah.
By the way, how do you appraise liquor bans per se? Because Christchurch resembles a bit of a patchwork quilt and a real mishmash as well of these liquor ban areas. For example, I don't know how many people are aware, but this summer if you want to go and have a couple of stubbies on New Brighton Beach, you are actually in breach of the law under these ad hoc liquor bans that are rolled out around Christchurch. Does it actually address the problems?
I've always said it just pushes it somewhere else. It's all it does. You know, the same people do it. It just pushes it somewhere else. And I think that councils have a responsibility to actually look at the whole of the policy. And even the door policy that they have in the town isn't fixing. It might be there in town, but what about what's happening outside in other areas? So I think the whole picture, Hector picked on it. You know, we have, you go down to Aranui, how many liquor stores and bottle stores are in these lower socioeconomic areas? And let's start tightening some of it up. Supermarkets, have a look at what the young people are putting in their trolleys. It's not the bread and the milk, it's the Ranfurly, and 24 of them.
All the
It's cheap.
RTDs, which you can get at the supermarkets, can't you? Yes, yeah. Is that one big problem area, the RTDs?
I think it's exactly what Joe's saying. It's the just such ready access to really cheap alcohol. I mean, supermarkets do lost leaders on alcohol to get people in through the door.
Although they deny it,
They
it's a load of nonsense.
Vigorously deny it, yeah.
I mean, who gains from being able to purchase alcohol 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Our society doesn't gain.
Yeah.
Our health system certainly doesn't gain. Our education system doesn't gain. Everything we value in our society doesn't gain. The only people that gain are the people who sell the stuff.
Yes.
And we always consult with them when we want to change the law. We need to stop consulting with people who have a financial stake in the outcome, because they just keep driving the same old stuff.
I mean, you can buy a bottle of wine at 4 a.m. from a dairy in town.
Why? What's the point of
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
But that's handy when you're heading home, isn't it? We'll take a break. She's standing for Parliament for Wigram, in case you didn't know. Don Brash returned to Orewa last Saturday. We'll have a look at that. Also a few earthquake recovery related issues. Back shortly.